Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to another week of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I'm John Rallis, flying solo on this Monday night program as Randy Waples feeling a little bit under the weather today, so we hope he can feel better and be back at it for tomorrow night's program. But we've got 10 on this Monday night card, and looking forward to some action. We've got some pop-up series finals. We've got a preferred trot. We've got some other young horses that I'm intrigued and excited to get a chance to watch here tonight. So we'll get you through that program here this evening. I'll do my best to kind of guide you solo throughout the night, but I want to recap some action that took place on the weekend as well. And I just love being able to kind of catch up with all the photos, you know, and all the videos and even the action that took place in PEI. Obviously, Gold Cup and Saucer, Old Home Week, always a fun event there. I've never been myself, hoping to make the trip next year for the first time in my life to participate in that big week. But we could see here Mickey Sean getting it done, Corey McPherson, Chris McKay training, and just a nice effort there, a game effort by Mickey Sean. But a tough trip there for Poseidon Sealster, local hopeful Bob McClure there, the Don Lindsay trainee, putting forth just a superb effort in defeat. I mean, never saw a set of pylons, and as kind of Bob mentioned in the post-race interview with me after he won with Bojangles, saying that just one of the fastest horses he's ever driven off the gate. He just had a poor draw to work with, but he still got out of there pretty well. Unfortunately, you know, everybody just has the same idea in wanting to make front there and kind of take matters into their own hands, and he got the tough trip as a result of that. But a really nice effort there by Poseidon Sealster. And Mickey Sean, of course, doing some great things since coming here to North America, and nice for Corey McPherson there being able to capture the Gold Cup and Saucer. You could see just what it meant to him. You could see the excitement. Of course, Jessica Hallett also, you know, putting a helmet cam on him. So it was nice to see his reaction and, you know, just leading up to that event. And, of course, the post-parade, we know how historic and just how memorable, you know, that is. That introduction just kind of builds up to what is always such a big race. So it was fun to catch that action on the weekend. It's come and gone yet again, but something we look forward to every single year. So always looking forward to the list of eligibles for that race. Always something that is just a fun event. I mean, the race itself is great, but I think the event and the week leading up to it is what makes that day so special. So again, hoping that I can make the trip down next year and kind of participate in some of that fun, because you know, when you just see the community, harness racing, you know, you just get all of that combined in one. Nothing better than that. So congrats again to the connections there. Congrats to Mickey Sean getting it done in the Gold Cup and Saucer on the weekend. But that was last weekend. And speaking of what's coming up this weekend, I just want to preview the stakes action that we've got coming up as well. We've got some stakes finals to kind of preview here on Saturday. We drew for these finals on Saturday, but we're going to take a look at these again. The Peaceful Way final for 2-year-old filly trotters, a field of 11. So they all went straight to the elimination, an open draw. The name everybody's going to be focusing in on is going to be the 9-horse One Bell, looking to keep her perfect streak alive. This Matt Bax trainee has just done some really good things here early on in her career, and outside draw or not, I still think she's going to be the one to beat. But we've got some other ones that are, you know, racing well. Bingo Night obviously racing really well. Calix coming off a nice effort. We've got some shippers coming in as well. So a really nice group that I think we've got here for this lucrative final. And of course, the intrigue is that sometimes we see a winner out of this race kind of enter or find their way to get a slot into the Mohawk Million. I know that's what, you know, Matt Bax, John Bax have kind of alluded to with their filly, but I'm sure they're going to take it one start at a time. And we're going to look at the William Willwood Memorial final. Eliminations took place this past weekend, and some really strong performances by Magic Punk, who made a couple of moves there. That Oka Svanstead trainee getting the job done. He's going to draw post 2. Cambridge Hanover, a half-brother to Maryland, who captured this event a year ago. He put forth a really nice effort there. That was his best effort in his young career. Just start number 3 for him on Saturday night, or Friday night, I should say. And he put forth a nice first over effort to be second. And he was picked off by the horse who's going to start from post 6, Ardon. And a nice effort there by that Megan Scran trainee, just getting up there off a perfect trip. But this is a colt who's raced super well. So we've got a nice final shaking out here. But again, no, the winner does not earn an automatic berth into the Mohawk Million. That changed last year. So, you know, get the job done here. I'm sure that we've seen many of these winners try and find their way into the final, or maybe find a slot. That could be the case here. But We also have the Canadian Pacing Derby eliminations that could be taking place this weekend. I mean, assuming we do have enough for a limbs. But Sabonis is going to be supplementing to the Canadian Pacing Derby. This coming off a big win at Hoosier Park in the Dan Patch. So a nice victory for him. Did it the hard way, drew the second tier, and still got the job done. This guy took a little bit of time, maybe a few starts to get himself acclimated in his new surroundings, trained by Brett Pelling this year. But again, just tough mile after tough mile for this guy. And he's put forth some really, really nice effort. So this is a nice little addition here to the Canadian Pacing Derby because he's one of the best aged horses that we have in the division. So going to be fun to get a chance to watch him on the weekend, and of course some other possible eliminations as well. We've got some other stakes events coming up this weekend as well, but we've also got Maple Leaf Trot elimination. So a fun weekend. It's going to be fun over the next several weeks here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. This is when our stakes action really ramps up. So we're looking forward to all the talent that we're going to see here locally, and everybody that's going to make their presence felt here over this Campbellville Oval. We're going to touch on some track plays from Saturday night. And again, again, this image just kind of looks, or graphic looks the same, right? You've got to be up and close, to be a main contender, and that's what we saw. Of course, race 2, though, obviously fourth at the half, that was Irvin Hanover. I mean, just a great effort getting up right at the wire there to pick off. Remember the Alamo, who is a new Ben Bearjean recruit. He owns, along with a couple others there, purchased from the U.S. Obviously a horse that we've seen here locally when he was a youngster, but he put forth such a nice effort there in defeat, just getting picked off by the Dave Maneri trainee, Irvin Hanover, who seems to kind of just be getting sharp at the right time, especially with some of these stakes engagements coming up. But again, need to be up close, and I think that's what we've seen throughout the duration of the Saturday night program, and just more or less what we've been seeing over the last few weeks as well. So yeah, you just got to be up close. Again, we keep kind of harping on the same thing over and over again. It's just the way that modern day harness racing is. It's just tough to win when you're too far back out of it. So horses that are up close, they're always in contention. So again, we'd like to see maybe that graphic stretch out a little bit, because maybe it will tell a little bit of a deeper tale, but for now, more or less the same every time we look at it. So there's our preview of what's coming up this weekend. We kind of touched on what took place over the weekend as well. And now we're going to get right into the action here for this Monday night program. And we're going to start off in race number 2. And we've got a field of 6. We've got some trotters to look at here. 5-year-olds and youngers, non-winners of 3. Morning line favorite is going to be Cover Band, one that raced really well in defeat last time out to be second. Not one that I'm going to use on my pick 5 ticket. I think the 5 horse right here, Hanover, is going to take a lot of support, deservedly. So I think this is a horse who raced pretty well last time out. 2 starts back, I should say. Just missed out by a horse who was able to slip up the inside, and that's an effort that I want to highlight from that night, because Justin Turcotte, the trainer, picked up the lines the last time out because Bob opted to go to Zed Athena in that effort. Bob McClure back aboard right here, Hanover, who guided him through that pretty good effort there last time out. And we're going to take a look at this effort right now. And you can see that Bob is currently off some bad cover. So, Bob just waiting for the flow to kind of get a little bit better. But you could see that Jody's first up, and that's Cover Band, who is going to be second over. And you could see that Cover Band just not really advancing. So you could see Bob McClure right now. He's, just asking his guy to go. And this guy's motoring well. Louis on the lead. And you could see that Sultan Caspian's to his inside, a rival we're going to see here in the same spot as well. And there's James and Ocean View Rumors slipping up the inside. But on the far outside, right here, Hanover just took him a few strides to get into gear. But he's gaining tremendously there. Just misses out. So obviously it was James McDonald, Ocean View Rumors, able to slip up the inside to just get the job done. But right here, Hanover, nobody was moving better than him late in that mile, as he just missed out to be the winner in that spot. So, of course, when Bob opted to go Zed Athena, that kind of lured me to go that same direction last time out. And with Justin Turcotte aboard, horse didn't pick up a check, but still trotted fine in that effort. With Bob back aboard, this is a horse that's going to take a lot of support. Deservedly so, and he's got a good draw to work with. So this is a horse that could be active, aggressively handled in the spot and work out a good trip. But I'm going to go to Southland Caspian here. James McDonald aboard, middle of the gate draw. A good chance he's going to have every opportunity to, just control the pace at his will. And that might be enough to get the job done. But I don't want to discount the right here Hanover in this spot. I think this is a horse who could be sitting on a pretty good effort. And again, if he races like he did 2 starts back and has a trip that can work out in his favor, it's going to be tough to fend off in the late stages of the mile. There's my thoughts in race number 2, and we're going to move on to race at number 3. And we've got more trotters here. We've got a field of 7. And, there's one horse from the rail that's starting, that's the morning line favorite, PL Rainbow Dash. I mean, this mare continues to put forth good efforts, and she's always live late. 2 back, she did get beat by, 12 and a half lengths, but she never really had a chance to get involved in what was a really big mile. That was a 50-4 mile by Art Peaky Blinders. She got away towards the back of the pack, never really got a chance to get involved. But a common theme from her is the way she finishes off her miles. She always closes well. We saw sub-27 final quarter from her last time out. Again, got away 6th, but rallied nicely. And that's an effort that I want to highlight last time out. Again, similar effort that we've seen from her numerous times. And you can see Bob McClure right now is going to be their 6th alongside the rail there. And he's going to take a shot and angle out just as they tip to the head of the lane. And he's currently going to find himself 3rd over. But you could see, again, just a common theme with this mare is struggles on the turn a little bit. A horse who kind of leaves herself too much work to do late, but she always responds so well once she reaches the top of the lane. And you could see she's motoring home. But who gets a cleaner trip? It's the eventual winner, and that's Hasty Bid, who dropped and popped and put forth a sharp effort. A horse we know is capable of some really, really strong performances. But this Katie Hutchison trainee is putting forth some good late wheels. So this is a horse that I think could continue to put forth good efforts. We're going to need to hope for a better trip. One that I didn't back in this spot on top only because she always leaves herself more work, but one that merits a lot of respect. I opted to go to the 4-horse Serenity Cruise. Horse who I think draws pretty well, is going to get aggressively handled in this spot. Has some class too. This is a horse who has put forth some good efforts against tougher company, so I'm hoping he can work out a pretty good trip and find himself in the winner's circle. But this is a tough leg. In this pick 5 sequence, as well as the way this, as well as kicking off this early pick 4. So I'm going to go Serenity Cruise, but I do think that some others merit respect. And here we see Flirty Dancer. She's going to pick up the services of James McDonald. We've seen James McDonald pick up the services of another Paul Reed trainee in What About Elmo, guide him to the winner's circle. And now James McDonald, maybe he's got a chance with Flirty Dancer here, who really stacks up well against this group. And all gas, no brakes. The horse always merits respect, especially at this class. Likely going to be a speed threat, so that could ultimately get the job done. But I'm going to go the direction of Serenity Cruise. But the trip scenario works out for PL Rainbow Dash. Look out late, because she's going to have the freshest legs most likely late in the late stages of that mile. We're going to move on to race number 5. And we spoke about those pop-up series finals. We have one here for some pacers. A field of 10, and the morning line favorite is going to be the 6-horse Living the Beach Life. Going to get much lower than that 3-1 morning line. This is a horse that kind of, lays over this field on class, I'd say. And he's really kind of, put that to test here over his last few tries here in this pop-up series. Just bottoming out his rivals. I mean, going some quick panels, and he's just not getting. Nobody can really keep up to him in that spot. So I'm expecting a similar effort from him here. Good draw to work with. He's likely going to be aggressively handled in this spot. But I do think there's a value player in the exacta here, and I think that's going to be the rail horse Dow's Up, one that I included in my pick 5 ticket last week. An effort that I'd like to highlight because he was motoring home late in the mile last time out. Got away towards the back of the pack, but this is a horse that moved really, really well and just missed out by a nose in that effort. You could see Bob currently sitting last there, and he's 5th over. So just in a really, really tough spot. Tough to even envision that he's going to be able to get a big piece given this trip, but this Lindsay Kerr trainee just raced super. I mean, you could see him. He's just gaining and gaining and gaining on his rivals. And again, never a horse that I figured would be a factor, especially where he was turning for home. But you could see the wheels this guy's showing at the end of it. A 54-2 back half, and he just misses out by a nose to Booming Economy, who put forth a game effort there, but just runs out of racetrack. Evan Lauk's calling Booming Economy there with a tight finish on the inside. I was sure that maybe Dow's Up got the job done on the outside. I was certain he did get up there just in time, but unfortunately he did not. But nice win by Booming Economy there. But again, one that I'm going to use in for second, because I liked that effort last time out. I just think it's going to be tough to beat Living the Beach Life. This Vic Putty trainee's coming off 3 consecutive wins. You could see even dating back to his July 14th line where he was 6th. That effort kind of gave us an indication that he was ready to put forth a few good efforts. And again, time and time again, we see some horses kind of find themselves in a pop-up series and they start to build confidence. And I think that's what we're seeing with Living the Beach Life, who has just taken on much, much tougher rivals, over the course of his career. So he's fitting well in this pop-up series. He's going to have a chance to go for the sweep. And I think that's exactly what he's going to be able to do here at what's going to be a short number. So I'm I'm not going to be cute in this early pick 5. I'm going to go all in on Living the Beach Life as a single and hope that he can sweep this pop-up series final. I'm going to move on to race number 6, and that kicks off the late pick 5. We've got some trotters here, and we've got a field of 8, a nice field of 8 here that we've got. Morning line favorite is going to be our Peaky Blinders, one that I'm going to go to as a triple up candidate. But of the 5 horse, My Friend Jose, this is one who Randy really liked last time out, and I tell you what, he got a really tough trip. And there was no denying who the best horse was in that race last time out. But as we always know, sometimes the horse who races the best in a particular race doesn't always get the job done. And that was by virtue of just a tough trip in his most recent. So My Friend Jose is going to pick up Doug McNair in this outing. But Trevor Henry did guide this Herb Holland trainee last time out. And we're going to show you that tough trip right now. And again, look, he got bet in that spot, coming off a nice win, much shorter price than you got the start prior, which was 9-1 from a good draw. He started from the rail, and you could see here right now he's going to be second over, but his momentum did get stagnated a little bit though, because earlier on in that mile, a rival did pull out from the outside and kind of stall his momentum a little bit. And this isn't a horse who can kind of just get into gear as quickly. So obviously just kind of wasn't able to trot as smooth earlier on in that mile, and he kind of got into gear a little bit late. He did lose some ground just before that turn, which wasn't highlighted here, but when he was able to get into gear and straighten out, you could see who was motoring the best of them all. It was My Friend Jose. So just a really unlucky trip, and that's just what happens. It's horse racing, but a horse that undeniably or undoubtedly did race the best in this spot. But he's got a good draw to work with. Probably is going to be taking on tougher company in this spot, but I still think a horse that merits a lot of respect, given how sharp he is and just how well that effort was last time out. So he's got the middle of the gate here, and we've seen in his starts prior when he does draw well, this is a horse that likes to be aggressively handled. So Doug McNair aboard, picking up a really live steer in this spot, and you'd expect that he's going to be leaving out of there in this spot. I see the graphic, Randy going to Pemberton. I thought he for sure would have gone back to My Friend Jose. I know we really liked him last time out. I know, he saw how tough of a trip he is, but Pemberton, he's a classy rival in this spot. Suffered some interference last time out when Emoji Hanover did make a miscue. I think that affected a couple of rivals in the late stages of that mile. Not saying he would have been a winner, but I think he likely would have picked up a bigger piece and maybe been a little bit closer. But Pemberton, he's got the back class to get the job done. Just a horse that's going to need a trip scenario to set up for him. But our Peaky Blinders, this is a horse who seems to be putting it together at the right time. He's found some confidence in his gait, and he continues to put forth some pretty good efforts. So one that I'm going to back in this spot, hoping that he can triple up. Again, horse that I've always been a fan of. It's just been unlucky, just putting in some breaks, being put in some bad spots. Wasn't the best gated trotter, but Louis Waugh aboard, and sometimes a horse just needs a little bit of a change of scenery. We've seen that numerous times with numerous horses, and Louis Waugh getting along with this Ben Bayer-Jean trainee quite well as he looks to make it 3 in a row this evening. There's my thoughts there for race number 6, and we're going to move on to race number 8. We're going to switch to the pace here, and we've got a field of 7 in this claiming handicap, and the outside 2 are the morning line favorites, Dirty Little Piglet and B. Stoney, both of which coming off some nice efforts. But I want to highlight B. Stoney's most recent try last time out, a horse that just hasn't been able to kind of get away in the best of spots as of late. He's had some outside draws to work with as well. James McDonald is going to be back aboard after Travis Henry was guiding this guy for a few starts, and James McDonald has gotten along with this guy. The last 2 times he's been aboard, they've resulted in wins. So I just want to show his effort here, third over. Obviously, a good spot, but at the same time, a tough spot too, because there's some other rivals who have worked out some pretty good trips in this spot. But you could see Travis Henry's going to angle this guy out wide, and he's going to, take his charge here late in the mile. Just kind of lost some ground there when he did have to, make his wide move there. But he was moving really, really well late in the mile. And this is a horse who 3 starts back with Travis Henry just missed out. And again, a horse who I thought was moving the best of them all, raced the best, and he missed out by a nose. He misses out by a little bit more in this spot, but again, a horse once again who was moving so well at the end of his mile. Not sure what kind of trip James is going to be able to work out with him, but I'm just kind of going with the fact that James just has gone along with this guy. Again, the last 2 tries he's been aboard him, he's gotten a trip to the winner's circle, so I'm hoping that trip can continue. everybody going with the same first two. Beast Oni as well as Dirty Little Piglet. No denying the success that Destacour has had with this guy. Added Lasix, and it's just been a different horse. And the efforts have been uber consistent. A little bit of a delayed leave last time by Bob McClure from the middle of the gate, and that horse, had to pay the price to take the lead, but he was game all throughout, just missing out by a nose to Rochester Flash, who came back again and put forth another winning effort there. So a loss to a really sharp racehorse. Dirty Little Piglet, I think, is going to have the tactical edge over Beast Oni, so one that definitely merits a lot of respect. I'm just hoping that Beast Oni maybe can get away in a better spot. Hopefully can, be within striking distance of a Dirty Little Piglet, who is going to be tough to beat. If he's on the lead, it just continues to roll along, because we've seen the success that he's had putting forth efforts like that. So Beast Oni going to be my top pick in this spot, but of course, Dirty Little Piglet warranting a lot of respect. We're going to move on to race number 9, and we've got a preferred trot here in this spot, and I kind of, want to highlight the effort of Amigo Volo last time up, but a lot of these rivals coming out of that Earl Rowe at Georgian Downs, and, no Logan Park this week, but we are going to have 6 trotters who participated in that event, or a handful of them, I should say, that participated in that final last time out. And Amigo Volo was 4th in that effort last time out. Nacy, of course, getting the job done at 61-1. Again, a big congrats there to Jody Cullen and Travis Cullen. A big win there at Georgian Downs. But I want to highlight the effort of Amigo Volo here on the big track 2 starts back. He was taking on Logan Park in that effort, a horse that Randy and I spoke on. Could continue to he maybe needs a start or two to get himself acclimated back at this circuit. But I thought this was a really good effort. You could see Logan Park, of course, taking matters into his own hands, controlling things. Amigo Volo coming first over and just trying to look him in the eye. And I thought this was a really nice runner-up finish by this Meg Crone trainee, a horse who obviously bounces around between racing here in the U.S. And I thought this effort kind of indicated that he's back to putting forth a effort that's going to be good enough to get to the winner's circle. So he's gaining on Logan Park here, but Logan Park just so tough to go by. But again, Amigo Volo moving forward. The line was approaching, but again, James McDonald and his charge just continuing to move forward. So I think they have to be really pleased with that effort. A horse who draws well in this spot, I think might have the tactical edge here as well. Again, I love the draw that he's going to get a chance to work with. This guy, likes to do his work up front as well. So hoping that he can work out a pretty nice trip. But we could see difference in opinions from everybody here. Garnet Barnsdale going back to Nacy, who showed some nice wheels late in the mile to play the role of upsetter there. He warrants a lot of respect without a doubt. Randy going to Fashion Frenzy. Things didn't work out in the Earl Rowe for him. He's coming off a pair of third-place finishes here on the big track. And Kevin Ploucher going to Safe Conduct. I liked that effort last time out, one that I picked as a top pick last time. Maybe just needed that start since it was his first pari-mutuel start in 2025. But I think that spot probably a little bit easier than the spot he's going to be taking on. I figure maybe he needs a couple of other starts to get himself acclimated back at this preferred level, because there's some other horses who just seem to be, just racing consistently and racing well at that. So I want to take a wait-and-see approach on Safe Conduct, but we know when he's on his game, he can win at this preferred level. He's already done it in the past. So there's our thoughts as we look at the preferred trot. And we're going to look at race number 10 here. We've got some pop-up series consolation to close things out. We've got a field of 10, and we've got some rivals coming off some pretty good efforts. I think this is a pretty wide-open affair to close out this Monday night program. Ulysses, starting from the middle of the gate. I think he's a horse that merits respect, puts forth consistent tries. Thought Rye's effort was fine last time out. There's a couple towards the inside that I thought raced pretty well, and that's going to be the 1-horse Sauble Ace and the 3-horse Blast of Sunshine. I want to highlight, Sauble Ace's effort first and foremost, though, coming off a third-place effort on the big track. I thought this guy had some wheels late in the mile, and we know that this guy does possess that late speed that we've seen from him throughout his career. And we're going to see Bob's on the inside here, 4th over, and he just can't find a seam. So he's going to have to wait till the top of the lane here to try and find one. And, that seam doesn't really come, but you could see that he's looking for a room here, and he's going to be looking and just hoping that he can find a seam up the inside. And some room starts to open up, and Bobby just starts asking his charge, and he's going forward, but again, still not a clear seam, because he tries to go outside, and that lane gets a little bit shut off. But you could see Bob's asking his guy, but he's moving forward late. Obviously just had to kind of maneuver him in between some rivals there, but once he's moving straight, he's moving forward. And I like that effort last time out. So one that I thought was moving, of course, forward at the end of it, going to get another chance here on the big track. Inside draw to work with, so I'm hoping that he can work out a pretty clean trip because it might be tough to get away from the rail. We haven't seen him get away in the best of spots, but this is a horse that can push out of there or has some, gate speed if need be. I'm just hoping it's going to be enough from the rail. I want to preview Blast of Sunshine's effort. This is Randy's horse to watch from last time out. He's dead last, turning for home right now, and you could see this new recruit here for Jody Cullen, who got sent over here to Ontario for a couple of starts. I liked his efforts in both tries. I know he hasn't hit the board, but you could see he's moving very, very well late in the mile. You could see by the line as well, 26 and 2 final quarter. Who's moving better than him in the late stages of the mile? I thought he was the best there, but again, you're going to need to be able to get away a little bit closer in both of his outings. Getting away towards the back of the pack, and that was with the favorable draw to work with last time out. Middle of the gate draw. Now he draws further inside. I'm going to put him on top. I made him one of my plays of the night, but I know there's an element of risk given that he hasn't gotten away in the best of spots, and we've kind of seen that from his tries outside of Ontario as well. I think that's probably why he's only hit the board once in 11 tries. A horse that I really like coming into it, but I acknowledge that there are some risks, especially if you can't get away in a favorable spot. So I'm going to hope that he can get away better than 9th in this spot and hope that he can work out a trip, because if he was moving as well as he did last time out, I think he's going to warrant a lot of respect. But of course, Sable Ace, who Randy is going to go to in this spot, can't fault him there. That's a horse that I really liked, and of course an effort that we just highlighted in this spot. So there's a look at the replays that I was able to send for this Monday night program, and hoping to have some success here throughout the night. And we're going to look at some stats and standings as well. And leading the way, it is going to be Travis Cullen. Speaking of which, 7 wins, leading all circuit drivers here for the week. A big week for him. He had a couple of nights where he was able to find the winner's circle a few times. A big week for him as well. 97,000 in earnings. So great week for Travis Cullen. Again, just competes everywhere, right? Just on the big track, has success here. Also races at the beat tracks across Ontario. He's keeping busy, but hard worker, and great horseman as well. So nice job to Travis Cullen, and of course Louis-Philippe Waugh, Trevor Henry, and Doug McNair. Big weeks for these three as well. I know Louis Waugh was out of town on Saturday. Doug McNair coming off a big night Saturday. 4 wins. Had every horse in contention in that spot. So we had a pretty big Saturday night, looking to carry over that momentum for this week. And of course, Trevor Henry, he had a big week himself too. So again, evenly matched in terms of the kind of the win totals, but Travis Cullen leading the way. And speaking of big nights, we saw Doug McNair with a big night. He was able to guide a pair of those Dave Maneri trainees to victory, and he's going to lead the way here. 13 wins last week with a big win percentage, 46.2% there, leading the way in earnings with 115,000 on the dot. And Carmen Cielo having a big week as well, also having 13 wins last week. He had a couple of winners there. Travis Henry was able to guide Jack Panic to a victory, as well as All Smoke and Mirrors there. A pretty good number there. A pair of Dan Serafian owned horses there too. So a nice job for Carmen Cielo having a nice week. And of course, Kyle Fellows and Jody Cullen rounding out those weeks. They had a big week on the wins on the wins front too. They had really strong showing. So congrats to everybody on what was a big week last week, and hopefully they can keep the ball rolling here as we start a new week of racing. And we're going to look at some Pick 5 ticket ideas. We're going to show my ticket as well as Kevin Plouch's tickets. I'm going to go all in on the 9 horse here, to kick things off. This is going to be Cold Creek Cali here to kick things off. I like this horse on the big track on August 1st. Finished 4th in that outing, was moving forward, and then he went to Georgian in a prospect race, and Dougie just sent him down the road. And he looks so comfortable doing it. I'm hoping, despite an outside draw, that he's going to have a chance to get out of there and try and take matters in his own hands in this spot. That was an effort I really liked, but I think this is there's a couple of rivals in here who merit a lot of respect. I think Talbot Kristen, she's been taking on tougher company. She might be the fastest in this group, but just hasn't worked out either the best of trips or has worked out the best of trips and just hasn't been able to go by. But this is a filly I've backed in a couple of tries. She's going to be in a maiden here for the first time in her young career. And of course, I think that's going to be a great spot for her to get the job done. I'm going to single Live in the Beach Life, Going to close out the pick 5, going all in on him. I spoke about him being the one to beat in that pop-up series final. I'm going to spread in legs 3 and 4, though. I do find race 3 to be tough. I find race 4 to be challenging as well. But race 2, I'm just going to go too deep. I am going to use Southland Caspian, my top pick, as well as right here Hanover. I feel pretty good about those two. I like where they draw. I like the efforts they're coming off of. And I think a lot of positives leaning on those two rivals in leg 2. Kevin Plouch is sending in some ticket ideas as well as he continues to, take over the DRF harness work. Thanks again to Kevin for continuing to do that on a nightly basis for the time being. And he's going to provide a single in race number 3. He's going to go all in on PL Rainbow Dash. Like that mare, she's got a great chance to get the job done. A tough single in that spot, given the trips that she's been able to work out, some of her corks, and just how she gets away off the gate. So, but again, works out a good trip. Going to be tough to hold her off, I'll tell you that much. But she's going to be his lone single. But he's also going to use Talbot Kristen and use some other coverage throughout the other legs. So there's Kevin Plouch's ideas. You can find his thoughts on DRF Harness. You can find his thoughts on Twitter as well, as you can find our other handicappers' thoughts and selections across social media. So there's our thoughts throughout the card, but we're also going to look at some plays of the nights. I'm going to take you through my plays board here. And my best bet, Cold Creek Cali, to kick things right off. Post 9, Doug McNair aboard, hoping to get the ball rolling here to kick things off. My triple up's going to be our Peaky Blinders in race 6. I like the way this guy's been racing. He took a lot of air to clear to the lead last time out, and he was able to keep trotting along. I think this is a horse that's going to work his way up to the preferred, and I'm hoping that he can keep the ball rolling. My all-in, Amigo Volo, we showed his effort 2 starts back on the big track, one that I'm going to peg as a winner in the preferred, and my spot play. Blast of Sunshine, again, hoping that he can get away in a better spot. As good as he was moving late in the mile, going to need to get away closer, and I'm hoping that the trip scenario works out for him, and we can close out the night a winner. We're going to look at some other resident handicappers and their thoughts. Garnet Barnsdale spot play, my friend Jose. We highlighted that trouble trip last time out. I don't think you're going to get 8-1 on that guy. Deservedly so, because I think that horse is coming off such a good effort. He's going to take a lot of support given that. Phoenix is going to be Kevin Plouch's value play, coming off a nice 4th place try. And Ghislaine Paquette, myself and him in agreement here. Pay attention, Blast of Sunshine. Yes, that was a nice closing effort there in his most recent. So there's our thoughts and there's our preview on this Monday night program. We're going to be back momentarily, 9 minutes to post before race number 1, where we kick off the $75,000 guaranteed pick 5. Best of luck.